We have a few hilarious clips of Republicans struggling to keep up the bit and defend Trump while attacking Biden without absolutely humiliating themselves, largely failing to do so or exposing themselves as the partisan hacks that they are, starting with J.D. Vance, who tried to make the claim that Trump is not an anti-Semite.
I think the fact that Donald Trump is talking about Jews in that particular context does not mean he doesn't think the same lessons apply to a whole host of American citizens.
Yeah, because he did say that any Jewish person who voted for Joe Biden should be ashamed of themselves. I want to move on.
But he's made similar comments about a lot of different groups of people, Dana. I don't think anybody could look at the presidency and the conduct of Donald Trump and say, this is a person who's somehow anti-Semitic. And I think whether you're Jewish or not, you should be looking at the record of Joe Biden.
He had dinner with Nick Fuentes, who is an avowed anti-Semite.
Dana.
Not only did he have a cute little dinner date with a Nazi, he defended the anti-Semitic rioters in Charlottesville, saying that good people were on both sides. They were literally chanting, "The Jews will not replace us." And he said Hitler's done some good things. He pushes the globalist conspiracy theory about wealthy Jewish people owning and controlling everything. He pushes the Great Replacement, which started as an anti-Semitic trope. The anti-Semitic tropes he pushes goes on and on and on. I mean, if you follow him at all, you would understand his disdain towards Jewish people. You can't justify anti-Semitism with Zionism because they actually play hand in hand. The existence of a Jewish state just gives Trump more of an excuse for him to want Jewish people to leave America and gives them a place to go as well.
You regularly invoke former President Ronald Reagan. You heard Senator Coons bring up the fact that he paused weapons to Israel as well. You constantly ask yourself, what would Ronald Reagan do? That's what Ronald Reagan did.
Well, I think, look, in this case, to say, look, I'm all for the humanitarian peace here, and that can be done. But I am not for saying, and what the president said is different. He said, if they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons, period. He didn't say something else.
Republicans are not for humanitarian aid for anyone. This specific representative introduced a bill to defund UN organizations that afforded any bit of rights to the Palestinian Authority, any bit of status to their organizations. He just has to say something to save face because the god of all Republicans was invoked, and you can't disavow Ronald Reagan and be on the right. On top of that, George Bush did it as well. As we covered in my other video, Donald Trump did it a separate time from the Ukraine that was actually similar to what Joe Biden did, and nobody pushed back on that. This is something with plenty of precedence and is well within the presidential power. Joe Biden has the entire fiscal year to deliver on congressionally approved funds. It doesn't end until September, and he can delay within that time frame for as long as he wants.
Historians would say, why is it okay for Reagan to do it and not President Biden? But let me ask you about
why is it okay? Well, can I say this? Why is it okay for America to drop 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end their existential threat war? Why was it okay for us to do that? I thought it was okay. To Israel, do whatever you have to do to survive as a Jewish state.
Senator, again, military officials say
whatever
the technology has changed. But let me ask you about how all
these
of this
military officials that you're talking about
let me ask you something.
Full of crap.
This argument he's posing here really gives away the Republican mindset. Us dropping nuclear bombs on Japan was not okay. It's in no way justified. We shouldn't have done it. And as technology and weaponry has advanced as much as it has, there's absolutely no reason to make that mistake again. We killed hundreds of thousands. We left long-lasting effects on the survivors, hundreds of thousands or millions more, lingering radiation in the area, effects even saw on children who were in the womb and not born at the time of the attack. It was all the way through a terrible thing. And using that as your justification for what's happening in Israel is like, yeah, it's comparable, but it's not justifiable. Neither were. And 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 2 rights did make an airplane. And us nuking Japan does not justify genocide, and it never will.